Morning.
Good morning.
Hello.
Cool, reactive crowd. Let's see. I have to get in tune with my audience every time I stand up here. I tried to from over there, but I can't see your eyes. My name is Maurice Harker. I'm the third of 9 boys. I was raised in Idaho, came to Utah for high school, went to Davis High. In high school, I was a nerd, an athlete, and a musician. I did the missionary thing in Detroit. Came back, went to University of Utah for bachelor's and master's degrees. Got married in between 21 years ago. Had 2 kids, a boy and a girl, both adopted. I used to be full-time LDS Family Services, and now I'm with Life Changing Services for the last 10 years or so. Okay, that's me. Sometimes we like to have this meeting to be not giant and just small enough to be able to interact with people, so I hope this isn't totally a lecture-based experience. To start off with, I'd like to hear just a little bit why you're here, what did you hope to learn here, so that I can make sure I weave it into my presentation. Is there anything specific that you wanted to learn when you came here? Anyone have any thoughts? Go ahead.
I'm from California.
Wow.
Drove madly here.
Welcome,
with
Bev.
my son, who I have 6 children. My middle son has a frontal lobe head injury. So it's taken me on an incredible journey. It's made me who I am today.
Okay.
That I talk about Satan all the time for years and years and years. And the little town I'm from in California, they think I'm crazy. And I have searched long and wide for help for different of my children. And this is my sister. She's from Bangkok, doing her own journey over there. But it was one of those things that, okay, where am I going with this? Where am I going? I've been trained in different things. Okay, that's not it. That's not it. That's not it. And then how did we find the website? And it was like, I sent it to her. And she was literally on her knees praying, what am I supposed to do? What is my passion? God, what do you want me to do? And I text her your website. And I said, take a look at this. And she calls me back and she says, there's a training on November 1st. We've got to go to this. And from that moment on, it's like, I know I am supposed to be an eternal warrior trainer. And I said that to a few of my friends, and they're like, Bev, you are so crazy. No, I'm not, and I'm coming back to get you and train you. So that's where we're coming from. Nuts, right?
Yeah.
I like it.
Normal amongst the women I've met. Thank you. First of all, I am reverenced by your comments. I'm reminded that if you meet my staff, most of them are mother-type women, not only to keep me on course, but that type of energy is what fuels us. And so sometimes we men like to put on our helmets and grab our machine guns and dumbly run into forests. We got this, yeah! And we're idiots that way. Okay, it's often the vision of women that give us a bigger perspective on things. So thank you. That will help me set the tone for my presentation today. You dare follow that?
Yeah, I'll try.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm here to learn how to help the young men and young women in my young single adult work who are struggling.
All right, we'll give you those tools. Anybody else want to comment on what they're hoping to gain today? Go ahead, Christy.
My husband and I are from Idaho, and we have a blended family, and so together we have 6 sons. And we found out that a couple are struggling with pornography, and so we are here to help them.
Okay, thank you.
My name is Cameron. I'm struggling. I'm just coming to learn some tools on how to break the chains.
Wow, someone for himself, brave. What's up, Grant?
Just can be inspired by you.
Thanks, Grant. I'm inspired by your hair. Ryan, anybody online have any questions? Go ahead and ask them.
We actually do. This is Michelle and Ammon. They said, "We are Ammon and Michelle. We are here because addiction to pornography continued into infidelity. Nowhere else has anyone listened to Michelle that the pornography is not separate from other sexual issues. When we came across Men of Moroni, the Married Men's Program, we were hopeful that this is finally something that addresses the root of the problem and does not in any way put blame on the wife."
That is correct. It is not the wife's fault. I'll just start with that. Okay.
And I'm also deal with some young men in the ward. But I guess part of my question is, why do I wait till they have a problem? Why can't I get them ready and outfitted before they have a problem, given the strengths rather than entering into
The question we agonized about for years. I think we have some for you. Go ahead.
I'm wanting this to extend into all addiction, not just pornography, so we can see the connection between any personal addiction, because I think most of us have addiction.
I should be able to start that. I should be able to begin that conversation today. Thank you. All right. That gives me a good place to start. Please, because we don't have a giant group here, feel free at any time during the presentation to raise your hand and comment or ask questions, okay? So this is not designed to be just a lecture. Okay. Some background behind where all this information came from. I guess it started as when I was a missionary in Detroit. I had been raised on the Mormon conveyor belt. Does anybody need to know what that means? Okay, deacon, teacher, priest, dumping the MTC with full naive enthusiasm. Okay, they launched me into inner city Detroit. I walked around in that very scary and dangerous city, completely oblivious to the fact that I could be killed at any moment. How you doing? How you doing? How you doing? Oh, I have a gun right now. Cool, I saw those on TV. How you doing? Anyway, I forgot to be scared. Anyway, in an attempt to be useful out there, I tried really hard to get good at my job, but it was the first time in my life where I wasn't getting results. In school, in academics, in sports, in other things, I was able to produce results, and I was really agonizing how to become useful. A woman, but more than one, asked me the question, Edahaka, which is Eubonic for Elder Harker. Edahaka, can you explain to us what this stuff has to do with reality? And it was the first time I had even considered that question. They didn't teach us that one in the MTC. Here's how the gospel applies to reality, real life issues. And so I didn't have the connection. I hadn't needed to apply the gospel to my life. I'd been raised in a good, decent life with no serious issues. And so I started to work hard to learn how to teach and change the way I taught so that it applied to the reality of the person I was talking to. I got pretty good at that as a missionary, and then when I got home, I just jumped into the normal Utah Mormon return missionary lifestyle, and I didn't realize that included crashing and burning and really getting screwed up in the head trying to figure out how to do life right. And I'm all, what is going on here? And then the question again came, what does this have to do with reality? What does the gospel have to do with real life issues? And so I began again studying, okay, now how does this stuff apply to my life, to real life stuff? I also continued to have my arrogant, ambitious naivety, and I decided I wanted to marry a perfect woman, and I assumed she'd want to marry a perfect man, so I scheduled myself to become perfect by age 25. Okay? What's wrong with that? Why wait till you're 100 years old when you can be perfect by age 25? Started studying every self-help book there was, every relationships book there was, got them all in my head. I chose to go to the University of Utah because they claimed to be the more open-minded ones, not like those people in Provo. Okay? No serious BYU fans here? Usually people say something.
They wouldn't admit to it right now.
They wouldn't admit to it, right? Good point. Okay. Anyway, back on track here. So when I went to the University of Utah, they says, we want you to take everything that affects the human mind into consideration. All the things that affect human psychology. I says, all right, let's do that. I'm excited about that. 6 months into it or so, I raise my hand and say, so when are we going to start talking about how spiritual things affect the human mind? And they says, except for that part, because it's not real. That's just something people make up in their heads. Now, that might have been convincing when I was a pre-missionary, but after spending 2 years out there without parents to give you guidance, without other people nearby you, at some point you have the opportunity to experience noticeable psychological changes due to spiritual things. And so I realized if I was going to study the spiritual side of psychology, I was going to have to study it on my own. I wasn't going to be able to rely on other people for it. It was during that time that I found out that prophets are smarter than scientists. They don't use rats to figure out the human brain. I also found out that God is a pretty good psychologist. It's not something you find in textbooks very often. And in hopes to reassure you, in an effort to make sure what I teach you is based on true principles, I've averaged about one general conference talk per day for 25 years now. That's where most of the information you get comes from, blended with some psychology concepts. Okay, so there I was. I even put a chart on my bedroom wall to measure my progress to make sure I was going to be perfect by age 25. My mother thought it was adorable. I was very serious about it. Why are you making fun of me? I'm not making fun of you, son. It's just cute. It's not cute. Very serious. So everything was going according to plan until I started hitting some glitches. I would work so hard on a piece of personal development, and then I would end up doing something stupid. Dang it, that doesn't make any sense. I'd review the textbooks. If you're smart, hardworking, self-motivated, self-disciplined, you should be able to identify any weakness and just overcome it, right? Just follow the recipe, work it through it, and you'll be able to overcome it. So I do that again, remodel my brain, get working again, moving forward, crash and burn, do something stupid again. For anyone who's really tried self-improvement, and that keeps happening over and over again, it's a little aggravating, okay? And you start getting frustrated with it. I was talking to a mom just the other day, and she showed this normal facial expression of, so at some point you just kind of give up. You know, it's not working, I tried, it's not working, I tried, I'm really good at all these other things, so I'm just gonna stop trying on that one. All I do is have all these negative self-conversations. And so I decided instead of just resigning myself to that, I would study. Why do smart people do stupid things? We actually considered titling the book that, Why Do Smart People Do Stupid Things? But that's not a really cool title. But so for today's presentation to be useful, and to tie it into Lori, what your comment was, is most people come here thinking about somebody else, okay? We've got people we care about, and they have problems. We got other people with issues, and they have problems. I'm here to make sure they get over their issues. I strongly recommend in the corner of your page, somewhere on your paper, in your tablet, whatever, to make a note of that one thing that you haven't been able to overcome yet or fix. That one thing that you've always wanted to do, whether it's exercise or adjust your eating or start reading something, and just you've been wanting to do it for some time and you just haven't gotten it right yet, put that in the corner of your paper somewhere. Or that one thing that you've wanted to stop doing, whether it's beat your children, light your cat on fire, something like that, whatever it is that you do that you just want to stop doing, and just put it in the corner of your paper, the thing that bothers you the most, that you've always wanted to fix, and we'll see if we can tie that into that kind of stuff. Because the line between addiction and really bad habit is a very thin line. And we can talk about the science behind that a little bit if we have time. Okay, so having that in mind, starting to study why do smart people do stupid things, that's when we found out that Satan is a good psychologist. Okay, it's one of those concepts you're not going to find in a textbook anywhere. One of my agonies through my developmental years was the frustration with the way I was taught about Satan in my developmental years. The closest thing I got to it was watch out for Satan, watch out for Satan, watch out for Satan. So I'd be watching out for Satan all the time. I'm watching, trip and hit my face on the pavement again and go, okay, I was watching, but I didn't see him. Where is he? And they go, yeah, just watch better, is the next follow-up statement I got. Okay, I'm watching. I can't tell where he's at. I feel blindfold. Where is he? What is he doing? I don't know what he's doing. And so I got excited about this. And granted, a lot of what I teach you is stuff that I started applying to myself first. I got to figure me out before I try to help other people. And it was exciting to see how stuff was universal. If it works for me, it starts working for other people too. And so the 3-year project of trying to figure out what techniques does Satan use to attack people, because my theory is there's a lot of core philosophies about human psychology, some of them say men are naturally evil. Men are just naturally evil. That's just how they are. That contradicts the doctrine that we've been exposed to, which tells us that men are naturally good. Spiritually, naturally, we are good. In order to have come to this earth, you have had to achieve a certain level of righteousness, of good decision making. And so if you got here and you have a body, you fall into the category of good. How good? We haven't figured out yet, but you are good. Okay? Alrighty. To understand satanic attacks, one of the not so fun parts of my job, as you might guess, not only am I a therapist, a clinician, a healer, I'm also a scout, a military scout, more than a Boy Scout. It's my responsibility, it's my job to study the enemy. It's my job to sit on the edge of enemy territory and listen to and watch and observe so that you don't have to. What I hope to do today is come back to you after spending years in Vietnam studying the enemy, if you will, and talking to people in Kansas and going, okay, here's what they're going to try next. Here's what they're up to. And sadly, as you might guess, I get a lot of people who say, wow, you're really over the top on this. You're really afraid of these people. You're like actually scared they're going to hurt us. Okay? You're scared the Satan guy is actually going to have an effect on us. You guys are blowing this out of proportion. I worry about that every once in a while. Then when I review the next 6 months of general conference talks and observe that about a fourth to a third of the conference talks mention specifically Satan and how to make sure you watch out for him. Okay? So I'm not the only one paying attention to it. Let's first talk about his overall picture, his overall idea. I'm so glad you're here, Grant, because I'm totally going to talk about you.
Don't do it.
You ready?
No.
Okay, you ready?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. What was going on before Adam and Eve, Grant? Need some help with that one? Heaven.
Yeah.
Okay. Anybody else want to help with that one? What's going on before Adam and Eve?
They were at war.
At war. Thank you. Who was fighting with who? Got two major sides, yes?
No.
What role did Satan play in the premortal war? Anyone? Thomas?
Sorry, what was the question?
I had him spellbound. Okay. What role was Satan playing in the premortal war?
He was trying to take away our agency.
Trying to take away his agency. And he became the leader of a few people? A leader of a third of the people? Okay. Can we assume by that Satan became a skilled military strategist? Okay.
There's someone online saying opposition.
Opposition, thank you. The development of opposition. So, Grant, you play video games?
Not really.
Not really? Anybody, you guys, any video game players? Any first-person shooters, war games?
I used to play GoldenEye.
Okay. If you're fighting a large army against a large army, who do you kill first?
The leader.
Why? Why do you kill the leaders first in large army versus large army?
Because like everybody else knows what to do after that. They're like, what?
What's that?
Because everybody else doesn't know what to do after that.
Everybody doesn't know what to do after
I
that?
don't know.
So would you say it's a skilled military idea to kill leaders first?
I'd say so.
What if you could identify them while they were really young and kill them while they were children?
When the army falls apart.
Then the army falls apart, okay? So, look at scriptural history. Can you identify any times when Satan tried to arrange to have a leader killed while he was still a child? What's that? Thank you. Moses? Joseph Smith, okay? Now, bear with me, because as you think like Satan, can you imagine how he felt when Moses slipped through his fingers? When Joseph Smith slipped through his fingers? When Christ, he tried to have Christ killed as a child. Can we assume that Satan was a bit aggravated? Okay, might have started swearing. Maybe that's when swear words were invented. Okay, and so he gives up, right, Grant?
Yeah.
Yeah?
I think so.
Everyone else is
I'm
going like
just
this. Go like this, Grant.
Just kidding.
Okay?
Yeah.
Satan does not give up. All right. Can you see him pacing back and forth going, all right, I can't kill them when they're children. I'll kill them when they're older. He arranges for Christ to be killed. He arranges for Joseph Smith to be killed. And he wins. Yes? Who are you, Isaac? Did Satan win? No. Dang it. Can you imagine his response 3 days later when Christ came back? Thank you. I totally played into his hands. And he's so aggravated that he gives up, right, Isaac? Is that what he's thinking? Okay, so did Satan give up at that point? Now you see his aggravation. He's swearing now, kicking sheep, all frustrated, and pacing back. Now what am I supposed to do? I can't kill them when they're children. I can't kill them when they're older. Then time goes by, 50 years, 100 years, 500 years, 1,000 years, 2,000 years. And then there's a rumor. I don't know if you've heard this rumor, but in the final days will be reserved for the noble and great ones, the greatest spirits of all time. Isaac, have you figured out whether or not you're one of them? You're not sure. Should I ask your mom? Grant.
I think I'm right up next to Michael Jordan. Really. I think I am.
He's right next to Michael Jordan. Thank you. One of the noble and great ones of the final generation.
Yeah.
Okay? That's awesome. Okay, now those of you who are parents here, those of you who are church leaders here, as you look at those youth that you work with, not just them, but the ones that are a little older than youth, there's something right about those kids. There's something ticking inside of them that's just phenomenal. And it's very sad and scary for me because what I experience in almost every intake session is I always have the parents introduce the youth. And I want them to brag about the kid. Tell me all the great things there's to know about this kid. Okay? They start talking. The kid's all nodding for a little bit. He's going, he's a little embarrassed, a little shy. He's going, I thought they were just going to talk bad things about me. And then you see something switch in his eyes. Somewhere in the conversation, you can see his brain going, that's all well and good, but I'm still seriously messed up on the inside. Okay? No matter how many positive things you say about me, because that one thing is wrong with me, I'm still going to go to hell, and I still need to be thrown in a garbage can. Okay? As I studied my work, I went through a phase of studying military psychology. And studying, and you know, I get a little weird sometimes because I'm studying deviant psychology. If I was a person like Hitler or a person like one of those other deviant military leaders, if I was going to win for a long time, I would need to pay really close attention to my opponent and gather the ones that had phenomenal skills, put them in a psychological concentration camp, and just make sure I emphasize and highlight their weaknesses and don't let anyone really give them time to notice their strengths. Just keep pointing out, oh man, you totally messed that up. It's too bad you don't have what it takes to become a leader. It's unfortunate that you're broken. Okay? Anyone feel anything inside of themselves as I do that little role play? You want to punch anybody or strangle anyone as I talk like that? Okay. All right, just a little introduction to how Satan thinks and feels and how you want to kill him when you catch him. Okay? Bear with me because the guys say I've gotten good at acting like Satan or talking like Satan. So we have a rule in our office, the group sessions, if someone's willing to act like Satan, you have permission to treat them like Satan. And I've had things thrown at me and I've been punched a few times. Anyway, so that's okay. It's all fun and games. All right. What was I talking about? Okay. Why Satan attacks. So we want you to understand these youth. One of the biggest things I want to emphasize, and Karen did a really good job of highlighting this, and by the way, if you ever have a chance to hang out with Karen very much, you want to take advantage of that. She teaches some really cool classes based on these concepts that we're presenting to you on a very applicable level. So she and the others you're going to meet today are excellent presenters. Anelity, Ryan, and others are excellent people to pay attention to if you want to learn these concepts and when I'm not available. Okay? All right, you'll get to meet some of them. You need to emphasize with your youth. This is one of the biggest problems that church leaders and parents have with them is they discuss with the kid, what's wrong with you? Why are you messed up? Why are you so broken? The way you want to phrase it with them is, the only reason that Satan would be attacking you like this is because you are a threat to him. The only reason you're being attacked this much is because you are a threat to Satan. And he usually attacks them when they're too young to really gain a vision for their own awesomeness. They're going, why would he attack me? I'm really not that important. I haven't done it. I had this conversation with a 50-year-old man just this last day or two. He's like, I don't understand. I'm not really anything. I've never really done anything useful with my life. But having the psychological skills of assessment that I have, I can interview this guy and see the elements of greatness inside of him and see if he just put a few pieces in order, he could do some really phenomenal things with his life. But he's been losing battles for so long, he just lost the hope that he could become awesome. Okay? So as you're talking, one of the first things you want to emphasize and the theme you want to maintain through the entire course of working with somebody is you are a phenomenal warrior who is a threat to Satan, and we're going to try to teach you how to catch him and how to beat him, and how to align yourself with the power of God in order to beat him thoroughly and consistently. Okay? Alrighty. Now let's talk techniques. How does Satan attack? I remember the phrase temptation. We Sunday school class. Anyone who sit there in Sunday school class, let's all share how Satan attacks us. Okay, shall we share that? Okay, I'll raise my hand. Now, what I usually would hear from people is, remind me of the way the British fought the Revolutionary War with bright red coats standing in straight lines, wondering where they have bullets in their forehead. I mean, who came up with that plan? Okay, but most of us experience ridiculous satanic attacks from time to time. Okay, like teenagers, dude, you should slap your mom. And you're going, no, not a good idea. And on the other side of the equation, mom's hearing, you should drown the child. And you're going, no, not this time. Okay, beat the child. Lots of parenting issues there. As kids at school, you should cheat on a test. We often get ridiculous temptations. And as you get to know Satan and his followers, as strange as that may sound, you find that they have various degrees of skill level, and there are amateur demons, and they like to try it out, and they come in and say, hey, you should slap your mom. And they go back to their buddies and say, how come that didn't work? Okay, so I hope all of you can acknowledge and recognize the ridiculous satanic attacks. Okay, they're kind of funny, they're kind of silly, they're a little annoying. What's up, Grant?
So you're saying satanic attacks come from other kids?
They can come from other kids. If they come up to you and say, dude, man, let's love seminary. Dude, you are Satan. Try that sometime.